welcome into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show, presented by SLABBED on the National Soccer Network. Alongside Dan Stickrat, I'm Patty Cesarini, and we are happy to have you here for our last and final ranking show of this season. Dan, it has been a lovely run, and over the course of 7 weeks, we have seen 230 changes between Division 4, 3, 2, and 1. This is it. It all comes down to this week.
This week. Teams will be wrapping up the regular season schedules the next couple of days. Pre-districts will take place Wednesday through Saturday across the state. After Memorial Day weekend, you'll have all your district semis and district finals, and away we go. 3.5 weeks, state finals right around the corner.
I cannot believe that it's already over. It's already here. But it has been a busy, busy weekend on the National Soccer Network. We just wanted to take a look at some of these numbers at what's been going on over here. We had 45 broadcasts, 58,000 views, and 400 new subscribers, and it doesn't stop there. We have obviously this show here tonight and many more that are coming later on after this and throughout the rest of the week. But when we come back, we will get you your Division 4 rankings. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about. Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns, no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
Welcome back to the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network. You know how we do things here. We are going to get right in to your Division 4 Week 7 rankings. Let's take a look. We will obviously start at 15. So coming in at 15, Manchester, then Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep, Harbor Springs, Madison Heights Bishop Foley, Auburn Hills Oakland Christian, Clarkston Everest Collegiate, Plymouth Christian, Adrian Lenawee Christian, Saginaw Novell Catholic Central, North Muskegon, Grosse Pointe Woods University Leggett, Kalamazoo Christian, Leland Royal Oak Shrine, and Muskegon Western Michigan Christian at number 1. Over the course of these 7 weeks in Division 4, there's been 65 total changes. And then I also think it's fun to look at the teams that have also been in the number 1 spot. So starting off at week 1, it's been Jackson Lumen Christi. Then for the next 4 weeks, it was Royal Oak Shrine. And then Muskegon Western Michigan Christian has closed things out at number 1 for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, you look at these rankings. First, I want to do a shout out to the divisional chairs who sacrifice a lot of time each and every week to kind of monitor and receive scores, look at those conference standings. So Brian Middlestat, Michael Hatfield, Jimmy Sistura, and Jay Allen, thanks for all your hard work this past season. Best of luck to all 460-plus teams across the state as the state tournament is around the corner. But you look at these final rankings, Muskegon Western Michigan Christian is an independent. They're number one the last couple of weeks. They've played an extremely difficult schedule, which is the reason why I think they're number one. Royal Oak Shrines in second. They won the AA division of the Catholic High School League. They turned around and won the Catholic High School League Cardinal tournament here, which was wrapped up yesterday at Royal Oak Shrine. There was 3 Catholic League finals yesterday. They were one of the 3 champs. North Muskegon, the regular season's not done yet. They have kind of the final league season in the West Michigan Conference. They're playing Ludington. The winner of that game will win the conference championship. So not every conference is decided. There's several others that will finish up here on Monday and Tuesday. Harbor Springs, will note them. They won the very first ever Northern Shores Conference, 12-0-0 in that league. That was the merger of a couple leagues in Northern Michigan, so the Rams, conference champs up north. Plymouth Christian, they went on the road this past week and handed Allen Park Intercity Baptist their first loss of the season. And they turned around and beat Rochester Hills Lutheran Northwest. So Plymouth Christian, MIAC champion, 2nd year in a row. Ryan Thomason's kids. You know, remember last fall he took the boys team as an unranked school to the state finals. Now Plymouth Christian has won a very deep Division IV league this year. Saginaw Naval Catholic Central, another team that went undefeated in their league. They won the Tri-Valley Conference Blue Division. I believe 6-0-0 in that conference. So you're looking at some of these leagues finally wrapping up. A lot of schools, close to 70 teams will be crowned conference champions or conference tournament champions by the time we roll into Tuesday night.
And 12 of the top 15 teams for Division IV got buys into the district semifinals. Can you just take us through, you know, just how difficult it is? We're talking across the whole state of Michigan, all these Division IV teams, like to have 12 of the top 15, at least for Division IV, is that more common than we'll see in Division III and II and I?
Yeah, because it's a little bit more spread out. Like in Northern Michigan, those teams are very, very spread out. And sometimes in the small schools, you'll see a program or two drop because of low numbers, even the preseason earlier in the season. Now that happened to 3 or 4 schools up north, a couple of charter schools in, you know, urban areas as well. So there's not as many teams in some of those districts in Division IV as there would have been if some of those teams did not drop their programs. So a lot more teams that were ranked or honorable mention this year, maybe won their conference, they were able to get those buys because of their high numbers.
All right, well, thank you, Dan. When we come back, we will then move into our Division III Week 7 rankings. You're watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
This is Inside the Game, where passion meets precision. Jonathan Turner, Nathan Wengler, and John Natale are your hosts, breaking down every goal, every controversy, every match that matters. From the heart of American soccer to the global stage. No fluff, just football. Weekdays at 9 a.m. live on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all listening platforms. Step in, speak up, stay locked in. This is Inside the Game.
welcome back to the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network. You're taking a look right now at one of our live feeds all the way out in New Jersey. Yes, that is why we are called the National Soccer Network, because we cover games all across the United States. Now, let's get back to what we're talking about here, Dan. We're going to move into your Division III Week 7 rankings. Go ahead, take a look at what is up on your screen. We're starting at number 15 with Armada, Ann Arbor's Green Hills, Williamston, Fremont, Warren Regina, Traverse City, St. Francis, Grand Rapids West Michigan Aviation Academy, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Grand Rapids Catholic Central, Frankenmuth, Milan, Brooklyn Columbia Central, Essexville Garber, Detroit Country Day, and at number 1, Grosse Ile. Now, 58 total changes over the course of the season, and everything started out fine and dandy for Grand Rapids Catholic Central. They were number 1 for 3 weeks, then it was Detroit Country Day for a week, into Essexville Garber for 2 weeks, and then Grosse Ile sweeps in at the last minute, and now they're sitting at number 1.
Grosse Ile, you look at the whole list, a lot of these schools did not win a conference championship. They were placed in very deep leagues. You look at Grand Rapids Catholic Central, high expectations, still a very talented team, but they're in that OKC white division with a bunch of Division II schools, so they've taken some losses, some ties along the way. Still a very good team. They'll be about as battle-tested as anybody in Division III when the tournament starts here this week. There are some conference champions, though. Essexville Garber, Red Division of the Tri-Valley Conference, they outdueled Frankenmuth and Bay City John Glenn for that conference crown. Grand Rapids West Michigan Aviation Academy, one of the longest names in terms of schools in the state. They did end up winning that Alliance League above Byron Center, Zion Christian. I'll mention down in the honorable mentions, Standish Sterling has a unified team with Augrey up there around the Saginaw Bay. They were the Jack Pine Conference champions this year. That's the first time that league has had a conference schedule. A lot of those teams up in Northern Michigan were playing in the Northern Michigan Soccer League in previous years. They have captured that first ever league title in the JPC, so congratulations to Standish Sterling. Also, Armada, that league, the Blue Water Area Conference, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, was dominated for many years by Elmont. Armada, the Tigers, winning that league as well. So elsewhere in that top 15, I mean, Grosse Ile was second to a Division II school in the Huron League, and Milan was 5th in the rankings. They're 3rd in the Huron League. So you start looking at the depth of some of these leagues, the quality, a lot of close games. So some teams are very good. They could get to the Final Four. They could even win a state championship, but they didn't win their conference tournament. We've seen that in recent years. A lot of schools that get to the finals, they not necessarily finish first. They might have second, third, or fourth in their conference, but that strength of schedule really plays a huge factor once you get into the tournament.
That's what it's all about at the end of the season, really, is how battle-equipped you are for the playoffs and to win a state championship, really.
Everything's got to go your way. Lucky bouncer, too. Sometimes the weather can play a huge factor, but it's not about trying to run up the numbers and play kind of a powder puff schedule. The teams that usually get to the Final Four and even play for that state championship have played very difficult schedules. I expect that will be the case here in less than a month when we get up to Michigan State University at the Martin Stadium.
That's no doubt. And there 12 out of the top 15 teams in Division III also got that bye into the district semifinals. But when we come back, we're going to take a look at Division II Week 7 rankings. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network. What you were taking a look at before we cut things to break was one of the WPSL games that we are live streaming right now. You're also taking another look at it as it's on your screen. But again, Dan, let's get to what we're talking about here. It's crunch time. Like this is going to be, teams are fighting for a state championship here. So we're going to dive into your Division II Week 7 rankings. Coming in at 15 is Mason, then Ada, Forest Hills Eastern, Battle Creek, Harper Creek, Middleville, Thornapple, Kellogg, Goodrich, Stevensville, Lakeshore, DeWitt, Otsego, Grand Rapids, Forest Hills Central, Grand Rapids, Forest Hills Northern, Grand Rapids, South Christian, New Boston, Huron, Richland, Gull Lake, Birmingham, Marion, in Hudsonville, Unity Christian. 53 total changes throughout Division II this season, and Hudsonville Unity Christian stayed number 1 the whole time after they made the jump from Division III to Division II. Dan, did you see this coming for them?
They are a very talented team. Really, the top two teams, Hudsonville Unity Christian, Birmingham, Marion, I did expect those two teams to be in that discussion all season long. Marion moved into the number 2 spot last week. They're there again. They won the Catholic High School League Central Division. They turned around and won the Bishop Tournament here this past week, defeating Warren, Regina, and Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood. Remember last year they got upset in the Catholic League Tournament, did not win the tournament title, but they made a run and finished as a state runner-up. So Marion and Unity Christian, could they be on a collision course? Both teams are going to have some very, very tough games to be able to get to the finals at MSU, but two very talented teams as well. And you could never count out Richland Gull Lake in that third possession. They won the Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference regular season and tournament championship. They knocked off Matawan 3-0 here on Wednesday, so they posted a sweep in that league. That was a very deep league this year with about 6 or 7 really talented teams. New Boston Huron under coach Matt Lividini, 10-0-0 in the Huron League. That was the same league we mentioned just a few minutes ago about Grosse Ile and Milan are in that league as well. Carleton Airport is an up-and-coming program. They had a good season as well. So you're starting to see the teams that were listed in that preseason, teams to watch back in mid-March. They have really solidified their spots in this top 15. Grand Rapids South Christian, we haven't talked about them because they're the other team that moved up from Division III to Division II. They have 13 shutouts. They've outscored their opposition 86-6, and they host Middleville Thornapple Kellogg tomorrow night. So the winner of that game should get the pie in that OKC Gold Division. Middleville Thornapple Kellogg is down in 12th in the rankings, but they have quietly been a solid team as well. They brought back over 90% of their team. Also in the Grand Rapids area, Forest Hills Northern, they're in first place in the OKC White Division. That is one of the deepest leagues, all 4 divisions combined, and the Huskies playing very well under coach Juan Torres. So they're another team. We haven't talked about them a lot, but they're right in that pocket of so many good teams. It's going to be very difficult for all those schools out there to win a district championship. Battle Creek, Harper Creek, this is probably their best team in school history. They were 6-0-0 in the Interstate 8 Athletic Conference. They broke in the rankings last week. They're up to 13th. And they've had an 87-14 scoring edge. So Harper Creek, they were kind of behind Marshall the last 8 or 9 years, and now they've passed Marshall. They are a team that is very talented, but they're another side that's going to have to win a very tough district. They're with Thornapple Kellogg and Otsego and Richland Gull Lake and Plainwell. There's another district where it's almost a coin toss. There's so much talent in that league. So it'll be very interesting to see what schools can even win their district championships. There's a lot of those power pockets, and it's always been the same thing.
Well, thank you, Dan. Catch your breath. Only 6 out of the top 15 teams in Division II get a bye into the district semifinals that will be coming up throughout this week. But when we come back, we're going to move into our last and final segment, our Division I Week 7 rankings. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools. From Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about. Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns, no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network. We are going to get you your Division I Week 7 rankings. Here you go. Take a look at number 15 is where we will start at Lake Orion, Romeo, Ann Arbor Skyline, Byron Center, Heartland, Troy, Rochester Adams, Troy Athens, Portage Central, Midland, Utica Eisenhower, Rochester, Rockford, Bloomfield, and then at number 1, Saline. Over the course of this season, 54 total changes, and Saline stayed on top the whole 7 weeks at number 1, Dan.
Back in 2015, Saline went 22-0-3, 16-0-2 at this point. They did win the Southeastern Conference Red Division. Can the Hornets, 10 years later, make another run of that state championship? We'll see what happens here over the next month. That is an explosive offensive team, 96-5 scoring edge going into the tournament. So Lee Rumble's girls, they were expected to be one of the best teams in the state. They've lived up to it thus far. You look at the rest of that top 15, Lake Orion moves in. I said early in the season, Lake Orion's going to be a team you're going to want to look out for. They brought back 16 players. They inherited a girl that had never played high school soccer before that's going to Division I DePaul. That's a very talented team, and the entire OAA has 6 of the top 15 teams, so 5 of the 7 out of the OAA Red are in here. They've been there all season, and Lake Orion finally made its way into the top 15 this week. A lot of conference champions. Heartland KLAA West Division champs. They won the KLAA tournament here, defeating Brighton on Friday night. So the second straight year they've run the gauntlet. That's another extremely deep league. KLAA has always been soccer heavy of a conference. Midland 18-0-0, so much like Saline, they have not taken a loss yet at this point. I'm sure the pressure on Saline and Midland is growing, but the talent on both those teams is there. Midland's done a very good job. They were down in Division II for one season last year, still got to the regional finals. Another team, the Chemics, brought back almost their entire roster, so they're a very dangerous offensive team. They have been simply sterling on defense, only giving up 8 goals. So that is another team to watch. Utica Eisenhower, they lost twice in the regular season to Romeo in league play. They ended up finishing 8-2 in the Macomb Area Conference Red Division. They won that conference yet again. You look back in the last 25 years, and Eisenhower has been the most dominant program in the entire Macomb Area Conference. So Bloomfield Hills, Rockford, and Byron Center, they've also won conference champions. This past week, Byron Center won the OKC Green Division. They were one of the 22 schools in the OKC that flipped divisions. They were in the white last year, moved over to the green. And that was a league dominated by Muskegon Mona Shores, which is down an honorable mention. Mona Shores had won, I think, 8 straight conference championships. Byron Center has not lost a league game this year. Neither is Rockford. Back-to-back OKC Red Division champions. That's a great defensive team. 43-6 scoring edge for the Rams, and they only gave up 6 goals last year. One was in a shootout. This year they've only given up 6 goals, but 4 of those goals were in the first couple weeks of the season. That is a team that it's only given up 2 goals in the last month and a half going into the tournament. And then Bloomfield Hills, they're also undefeated, 13-0-2. I talked to Alan Zachariah earlier today, their head coach. That's a very seasoned group. They were your state champs 3 years ago in 2022, even though they only finished 3rd in the OA Red. Another team they're going to have to look out for. They've played a very, very tough schedule, only given up 7 goals. A lot like Rockford, both those teams have 11 shutouts, so they're getting it done on the offensive end, the defensive end. They have the talent, they have the coaching, and it would be really interesting to see how this all shakes out here in the next few weeks.
And only 8 of the top 15 teams got that bye into the district semifinals. But Dan, I'm going to ask you another loaded question here. You might know where this is going, but for Division 1, would you mind giving us your prediction on who is going to be holding up the trophy?
I'll never give predictions, but
Worth a shot.
you look historically in the last decade or so, a lot of the times the state champ has come out of the OA Red Division or that KLAA. Very possible that could be the case this year as well. Harlan won in 2021. They knocked off Troy Athens, an OA Red school, which has been ranked in the top 15. I don't know how many straight years they've never fallen out of the rankings. Bloomfield Hills won it 2022. Rochester Adams won it last year. Rochester Stony Creek won it 2 years ago. All those schools are out of the OA Red. So will that league continue its dominance? Will the KLA, will the SMAC, will someone from the Ottawa-Kent Conference, either Rockford or Byron Center, make that run? Both of those teams have been very talented this year. They had high expectations, and we'll see. John Conlon, a coach of the Byron Center, he is one of the legendary coaches in Michigan. Stu Quackenbush, who used to coach under John Conlon years ago, he has taken Rockford from an average team into a powerhouse. We'll see if either of those two teams can kind of sneak into that Final Four, maybe steal that state championship and take it back to the west side.
We'll see. It'll all be a big question mark as things start to unravel within the next few weeks here. And before we wrap up the show, I just want to, again, shout out our division chairs, our Soccer Coaches Association that worked so hard on getting us these rankings for the past 7 weeks. Also want to shout out all the student athletes that have worked their tails off to get to this point. Congratulations on closing out your season here. Same with the coaches. You guys put in a lot of time and effort in coaching these young women to then go on not only be better people, but also better athletes as well. So with that, from our producer, Jonathan Turner, my partner, Dan Stickrat, myself, Patty Cesarini, thank you so much for watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, and we will see you next season.